Hey, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk, and I'm your host, C Money. And this is a very special, interesting episode. I'm back here at the mall at 163rd Street here in North Miami. I just want to give you an update on this mall. When we last did this mall was probably a few years ago, and we talked about, how, in back in the day, how this mall was very interesting, how this mall had a movie theater. It was the center of a lot of resistance for a lot of people who stayed in the Opelika, Miami Gardens, North Miami area here, and a lot of people come here. Now, I was in the area and I decided to drop into the mall, and I was like, oh my goodness, this mall is deserted. Let me tell you, there's only one store here that is still in existence. Well, two, three if you count a kiosk. This is the Ross Dress for Less store. This store here, which is a family belt store, this is a school uniform store. And one of the things that actually surprised me is that also, if you can see further down, there is an area that used to be the Marshalls. Remember, Marshalls closed and they moved further down to a new location. This area now has been blocked off, which was in in back in the day was the food court here. And this right here, the last time I was here, this was a city trend, and it has been converted into a Ivy Lee Uniforms and More. If you don't know about Ivy Lee, it's a local uniform chain for kids to get their school uniforms. And they converted this city trends into an Ivy Lee, and it really, this is the location that Family Belt used to be at over here, but I'm guessing due to the, closure, this was, as you can see, that was a Rainbow store, and there were several stores here. There's still a Mega Furniture store here. Now, there's about 3 or 4 stores. You have the Ross, you have the I Believe Furniture store, you have the Family Belt, you have the Mega Furniture store, which is right there, and then you also have the other uniform store, which is roughly closed right now. And then you have these things here that's taking up these spaces, probably little mom and pop businesses in here. And I wanted to take this because I was coming here. I said I was gonna, I said, let me go into the restroom, and the restroom sits over here to where the area is blocked off at. And I said, oh well, I guess I have to go probably into Walmart or somewhere else to go use the restroom. And it kind of got to me to think that what is in the future for this shopping mall, because it seems like day by day the mall is actually going down to the point where it's not going to exist anymore. Like this, a lot of the stores that was in this mall have either moved out on the outskirts or they have just moved away. Remember, I was saying that the Marshalls that used to be here, it moved further down the street to a new shopping center where it housed a Chick-fil-A or Publix and other stuff. The Foot Locker that used to be housed in here is on the outside near the parking lot area. So it got, it moved out of the mall and just moved into a building on the outside. And there was another building that was here called another thing, called Tech Jam, which was a interesting clothing store. And it got, this was the I Believe store. This used to be Oshkosh Bagosh, and I think the Oshkosh Bagosh store. This used to be the I think a sporting goods store back when the mall opened up. This mall had a lot of stuff. They had a Mervyn's, they had a Bodines, they had a lot of stuff. With the development of Aventura, as I said, when Aventura came around and started building up, when Aventura first came open, a lot of these stores migrated and ventured over to Aventura. And then from there, the mall was still had a livelihood, but it ended up going down in the mid 2000s. This is looks like an appliance store here, and we're gonna go on the outside. We're not gonna spend too much on this video. I just want to come here. This is a Metro by T-Mobile store, which the entrance is on the outside of the mall. It's not pretty much stuff that goes on here at this mall. So if you ever decide to want to come here, you're better off. Like, what the heck? The only thing that's interesting about this mall is that you do have a Walmart that sits here, and on the other side, on that side of the parking area, you have a Home Depot, which where I said in the video I did of the when I did a video a while back, you had a movie theater there. This used to be a clothing store. This is the clothing store called Tiki Jam. It was once on the inside of the mall, and then they decided to have two locations, one on the inside, one on the outside, and then they closed the inside location of the mall, and they ended up just getting rid of both locations. This is an H&R Block that is here. Roughly right now it's closed, and you have over here you have several shops. You have an Amscot, which is a financial check cashing store, and also you have Foot Locker, which sits over there by where the former Payless shoe store, because Payless used to be on the inside of the mall, and then when on the second floor to be exact, and then eventually Payless moved their stores from the inside to the outside of the mall, because they opened up a store over here where the Foot Locker is at. And then eventually when Payless started closing all of its stores and went out of business, of course this location got closed, and then eventually got converted into a Foot Locker and a kids Foot Locker. And here you have a Panda Express Chinese cuisine restaurant, and of course you have probably several other businesses as well. Let me go over here to this area. This basically is telling you that this is what shopping centers are being corrupted to. Now that you have big businesses like Walmart and Amazon and online shopping and things like that, you're driving a lot of these businesses to either do online shopping or to go out of business. And back in the day, shopping malls used to be of an existence. There are still malls like Aventura, Dolphin Mall, and Sawgrass Mills, and a lot of these malls that this is a party station, event space, and supplies, I believe. There's a lot of these places that are still thriving because they are a tourist attraction. Here at 163rd, this is basically a dead zone because you barely have anything here. And the existence of this mall will soon be obsolete. And this is to say, support these businesses. If you can skip if you can skip Walmart and skip Amazon and go into these mom and pop stores to buy your appliances and to buy your perfume, like this perfume shop here, and to buy certain things, why not do it? Why? That's why I said it's been, the economy is changing because you have big big chains like Walmart, Amazon, Whole Foods, and a lot of these big businesses that are taking over the game, that are driving these companies out of it. Sooner or later, there will be no more 163rd Street Mall. You have only a Ross. And I done shopped in the City Trends. The last time I was here was probably a while, and the City Trends was actually there. And the fact that now you're only housing one chained clothing store and a uniform store, which is, to me, in its sad existence, because you have places like Walmart here that had roughly, look at the parking lot of Walmart. But if you go into the parking lot of the 163rd Street Mall Shopping Center, you have nothing. And it's basically like a dead zone. And a lot of you are probably going to say, yeah, it's not because of, the big businesses and stuff like that. It's just people stop shopping in the malls. And that's the reason why. Because a lot of these people that come to these shopping malls, they come, wherever there's a shopping mall, there's some new thing opening up near. Yeah, Aventura Mall, it exists, but look what's around Aventura Mall. You have so much development because that's in the city of Aventura, which is a tourist city, and you're near the beach, so you have so much development around it. This is North Miami. There is not too much of North Miami. Yeah, you have Sunny Isles Beach and Haulover Beach that is, less than 10 miles away from here, but at the same time, what can you offer at this mall that can bring tourists over here and attractions? You don't have hotels or luxury hotels. You don't have things that can bring this mall back to livelihood. And this is just not with this mall. There are several malls in existence that is feeling this same heartache because you got big businesses that, when Walmart, you know, opened up over here, it kind of threw the mall existence, and it went to, and kind of threw the mall attendance went down, because now instead of going inside to the food court at the shopping mall or going inside to get clothes and stuff like that, you can just go inside Walmart. You can get your groceries, you can get your school clothes, you can get your shoes, you can get everything in Walmart, and you don't have to worry about going inside the mall. And it made the mall go down into existence where attendance in the mall declined. Like I said, like how years ago I said the malls used to have arcades and game rooms, and then they took them away. And now, they're bringing them back, but they're not bringing them back the way we feel see to bring them back. So what I'm saying to you is, please support these shopping malls. Please support these places. Remember I did a video about a month or two ago about the flea markets, and they all got torn down. And majority of the flea markets that got torn down did not get rebranded. Only one of them got rebranded into a shopping center, which is not a bad thing. Another one didn't get rebranded, but it got moved into an indoor, from an outdoor flea market to an indoor flea market. And then it got to the point where another one just got, rebranded, just got closed and never got rebranded. So, and we're going to take a look down here at the back part of the parking lot of the shopping mall, which is the back entrance, or the front entrance, or the main entrance I should say, because Ross has two entrances. They have an entrance inside of the mall, and then they have an entrance out in the back. And as you can see back here, there is a little bit of cars back here, because of the lightning, but there's not much, because of course there are only a few shoppers, So here's to say, come out and support these malls, because eventually these malls are going to get torn down, and then all it's going to be is shopping center. I love going inside malls. I love walking around malls. This was one of my childhood malls. Like I've told you before, between this mall and Westland Mall, this was one of my childhood malls from when I lived in Opelika, and I came out and I, went to the food court and got something to eat. There isn't even a food court here. If you want something to eat, you gotta either go to the closest restaurant, which is Panda Express. This Walmart just opened up a Charlie's steak restaurant, Charlie's Philly steak restaurant, which is decent, because they're starting to pop up now. Charlie's is starting to pop up because, Charlie's used to only be a, mall type restaurant. And now a lot of the Charlie's are popping up in Walmarts, and they're popping up as standalone restaurants. They're not really in malls like that. And then you have, which another place that still exists over here is also Arby's. Arby's still exists because, I know a lot of people are like, Arby's still exists? Yeah, they still exist because, and there's a KFC, there's a Wendy's, and other places here. But that's it to say, support your local malls, shopping malls, and shopping centers that might not be thriving as you want it to be, because a lot of these places in 10 years from now are going to be looking like shady places, to where they're going to get closed, and because Ross is the only thing that's keeping this shopping center afloat. Like the Family Belt place, I've bought belts from them before, because they do have, regular decent belts that, because most, clothing stores and stuff, you go in there, they don't specialize in belts, and most of their belts are not the ones you're looking for. So when you go to an actual belt store, you get to buy a belt. So come out and support these businesses. Come out and support these shopping malls, because this right here is just a travesty. When I came in the mall, I was disgusted when I seen it. They have one entrance in the front of the mall that is roped off, and then when you go into the middle entrance, you see that they have one half of the mall roped off, which used to be the food court area, which also had the second floor, and it was disgusting. So, and a lot of these malls, if you have any malls that are like this, please comment at the bottom of this page and let me know what malls that are happening in your area like this. There are several malls here in South Florida and shopping centers in South Florida that is actually like this, and that is slowly fading away because of the fact of you're building newer and bigger complexes. You're building warehouses and Walmarts and Amazon, and you're building these existing things. You're building, big corporated business in these areas, to where you're you're pushing away the mom and pop stores to make way for these big box businesses, like Walmart and Amazon and Target and stuff like that. And it's like, where do these people can go hang out at? I remember there's a school back here called North Miami Beach Senior High School, which literally is in the back of the mall, and it is a hangout spot for kids. And at the same time, you look at it as, hey, you know, this is a hangout spot for kids, and now it's no more and exists. So what are we going to do with, these big chained businesses? We have to tell them, hey, stop putting these big businesses near these shopping malls and near these shopping centers and near these mom and pop restaurants and pushing them away, because you are taking away the childhood of a lot of these people, and you're taking away the existence and the essence of these businesses, like these shopping malls and things. Yeah, Foot Locker moved out of the mall and moved into a standalone store outside in the parking lot of the mall. But who's to say that Foot Locker is thriving? Even though I know they're probably still is thriving because they're still there. But a lot of these businesses, there was a record store that was across the street from here called Blue Note Records, and it was one of my favorite places because I remember in existence, and I was young as a teenager. I used to go there, and I bought one of my very first gospel VHS tapes, and it's one of my favorite gospel artists, and they did a live performance, and I ended up buying a tape from there. And in existence, I was happy about it, but at the same time, it came down to where it's closed, and that's not because of the rising area. It's because, as you know, as I said in my previous video, music has now migrated into apps and streaming and things like that. But please come out and support these buildings. Come out and support these businesses, because if not, you're going to see things like 163rd Street Mall and all of these other shopping centers that is going down, and that is being torn away and taken from the lively and childhood of our family. A lot of these YNs are not going to be knowing how good and how much of importance that the mall was. You didn't go inside the mall just to go shopping. The mall was like a hangout spot for most people. And the fact that now you're taking that away from people, it just kills it. So come out and support these malls. If you have any memories of a mall that was in your area and you want to talk about it, or if you know a mall that is going downhill and that is not in existence anymore, or is it closing to where it's not what it is anymore, comment at the bottom of this page. Email me, roundtable00@yahoo.com. This is the Roundtable Talk. I am here in North Miami, at North Miami Beach, to be exact, at the mall at 163rd Street. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, stay hydrated, and see you in the next episode. Take care.